Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to this latest episode of Fresh Review Friday. So sit back, relax, grab your cigar, maybe a drink, and enjoy. Dad. 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 What's up, guys? Welcome to another Fresh Review Friday. This week, obviously, back at my dad's house, hanging out, chilling, having a good time. But this week is special because it's Dad's choice for the cigar review. I talked to him about a week ago, and I said, "Hey, Pop, I'm usually like picking out what we review and stuff like that, what we smoke. Why don't you pick something from your humidor and you tell me what it is when we get around to the review?" So what do we pick? What did you pick, Dad?
I picked the My Father La Opulencia. I love the My Father line since I'm his father.
And since it's Dad's choice, I mean, pretty apropos. My father chose my father. So I really can't think of
Kyle,
any.
I'm your father.
Yes, I'm aware. And even if I didn't want to believe it, just one look and there really is no arguing with it.
All this is no accident.
Right here. All right, let's take a look. What's up, guys? You're watching Dad Smoking Cigars, sponsored by Casa Cueva Cigars, from our casa to yours. Welcome to another Fresh Review Friday, and as we mentioned before, this week it's Dad's choice, and we're smoking the My Father La Opulencia. But just before we get into the cigar and all that good stuff,
The debate was hotly raging.
It's debatable whether that debate was hotly raging. So it was
hot or raging. Discuss.
Yeah. It was more of a little, we touched on it just a millisecond before I hit record.
It was sort of a fireside chat.
Yeah, there is some fire, but it's behind us, not on the side.
Fire around chat.
Yes.
Fire near chat. Near fire chat.
Exactly. There you go.
Okay.
So, and that debate discussion was talking about what do you do? Now, obviously, if you're going to use a community cutter, because I touched on this in another video, you don't do this if you're using a community cutter. But when it's at your home, your stuff, your cutter, all that kind of stuff, before you cut or punch, do you moisten the cap? Do you just leave it dry? What's your preference, Dad? And what do you usually do?
So, I was wrestling with, whenever you punch a cigar, and I don't punch all my cigars, but certainly a Toro, I prefer a punch as opposed to a cut.
I don't always punch my cigars.
But when I do, I use my own punch.
Of course.
I noticed that, I was busting a cap every time I was punching a cigar.
When it was dry.
Just a joke, no offense meant.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying. So, and then the cigar would proceed to unravel a bit during the smoke, and then air would get in, and the draw was awful. And so I somebody mentioned that, hey, I prefer to moisten the tip of the cigar slightly, and I noticed that when doing that with a punch, that there was no cracking. And so for me, I do moisten the tip of the cigar. Obviously it's my cigar. No one else is going to be smoking it. I'm using my lighter and my punch.
Please don't do that.
And for me, it smooths out the draw. I enjoy the flavor more. And so personal preference, everybody. But you obviously wouldn't punch a torpedo.
No, I mean, you really can't punch a torpedo.
But I have done a straight cut on a torpedo.
Straight cut or V cut can work
and
on
a V cut.
I've done both. So that was kind of the little bit of a sidebar discussion we were having, and we just wanted to get your guys' thoughts. If you have any thoughts on that, why don't you go ahead and put them in the comments down below. But until we read those, let's go ahead and toast and light and see what we see. And
by the way, just to close the book on the moisten or dry, if you've got a clean cutter, you probably don't need to moisten it up. But I still am a fan of I might even moisten the torpedo before I cut it in my tabletop cutter.
Yep.
But the blades are always sharp. They're always clean. So
I think I need to sharpen mine. They're pretty starting to get a little dull, but I still get almost perfect cut every time. So
I heard his wife say he was dull just the other day.
Anyway. So
thud.
Have you had the La Opulencia before, Dan?
I have not.
Okay,
so I have had the My Father line, but for whatever reason, this one has escaped me.
So we're both going in blind.
We are. We're gonna try it. I mean, let's make it no secret that this is a highly rated cigar.
Yep,
I'm sure we're gonna like it, but
Let's find
taste
out.
being what they are, yeah.
All right. Toasted it. When I did the dry draw, I got kind of that usual like dried fruit notes and stuff like that, a little bit chocolatey. So I'm very interested to find out what the first puffs are going to taste like. Judges?
Lovely.
No, very good. Definitely really chocolatey right off the bat, for me anyway.
Great flavor.
Absolutely. Very rich right off the bat.
Yeah, there's definitely that chocolatey.
A little bit of earthiness to it and a little bit of a slight bit of like pepper on the back end. I'm getting just a little bit. It's subtle, but it's there, kind of lingering.
Maybe just a touch.
Exactly,
yeah,
just a touch. It's
call
not
it pepper. Call it
a little spice.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, pepper might not be the right word. I would say a little bit of spice, kind of that subtle heat you might get from some kind of baking spice.
Yeah, we're gonna like this.
Oh man, that retrohale opened it right up.
Not to mention the flavor that it leaves behind.
Yeah,
it's very enjoyable.
It's kind of a bready.
It is
a little bit of breadiness, but delicious. Okay, well,
this may be a whole show where there's no speaking, folks.
Kind of like a good meal. You're giving the ultimate compliment when you're not talking, because you're just enjoying, and definitely enjoying right off the bat. So, smoke down this first third, and we'll let you guys know what our thoughts are after that. And odds are they're probably gonna be pretty good. So just expect to hear good stuff, right?
So grab a whiskey.
Yes.
Have a smoke, and we'll be right back.
All right. Okie doke, ladies and gents. We are down past the first third of the My Father La Opulencia. I don't feel like I can never say that correctly. It's
Opulencia.
Opulencia. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. But
shout out to my 8th grade Spanish teacher, Virginia Mort, if you're watching.
Let's hope. We can only hope.
She's a friend on Facebook.
Okay, well then you're gonna have to post a link so she can see it and let her know you gave her a shout out.
There you go.
What are your thoughts so far, Pop?
Well, I couldn't quite come up with it because there is a bitterness there, but I wouldn't call it a peppery. Right in your mid palate, it's more like a dark chocolate.
Yes.
At first, you've got the sort of cocoa at the start, but when you get down into the cigar, it's a bitterness, but it's not a bad bitterness. And I realize this. It's just like when you have a piece of dark chocolate and you taste the sweetness, but it's got the bitter finish because it still feels good on your palate. It's, as my friend Earl Lancaster likes to say, it's not bitey.
I remember you mentioned that in another video.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's not too bitey. It doesn't like. I don't feel like it's pepper so much as, like I said before, it's just got a spice to it. A little bit of bitterness to it, but not bad. You think about when you drink like a beer or something like that. Depending on what kind of beer you're drinking, there's going to be a little bit of a bitter flavor. I mean, once upon a time, way back when, you'd be ordering a pint of bitter in like the old taverns and stuff like that over in the UK and all that kind of stuff. So there's an appeal to that bitter flavor as long as it's mixed in with
like sour beers in Germany, and there's a class all its own that people really do enjoy. But so there is a bitterness to this, but it's not a bad, and actually it's kind of getting more of a creamy flavor the further you smoke down the cigar.
I would definitely agree with that.
I'd say smoke it down to the label almost gets you to the first third because my father's known for being a bit label heavy. Kyle and I at the beginning of the show, we peeled off our very pretty orange ribbon, which the My Father line always comes with a nice ribbon on the end.
Was it orange or was it green?
Or green, pardon me. I'm thinking of another cigar. My bad. But I never learned colors.
Yeah.
So, but the point being, the ribbon, it's window dressing and it's pretty, but you peel it off immediately.
You don't want to light the foot band. You don't want to do that at all.
And these pretty bands, I mean, nobody likes a smoky band. It kind of takes away. So.
I like to collect cigar bands. I have an entire like metal cigar box at home that I got from Drew Estate that I throw all of my cigar bands in, and definitely keeping these ones because my father's cigars make some pretty bands. So absolutely, it lends to the appeal of the cigar. But then when you smoke it, it's just like you forget about all that because it's delicious.
The other interesting fact about the cigar, as I was kind of looking at how they made it, it's a double wrapper, which is sort of unique, and it's a Mexican wrapper.
Yeah.
With a Nicaraguan filler, and so you've got a nice flavor combination here. So if you enjoy, we were talking about whiskey offline, but the blended whiskeys that combine bourbon and rye and some of those things. If you're a wine drinker, blends are some of the better wines you'll drink. And this is a nice blend. You've got a lot of flavors coming together in a cigar. I'm just thoroughly enjoying it.
I like a good Puro every now and then, depending on if it's Dominican or Nicaraguan. Those can be excellent cigars, especially when they're from different regions. But I love a really nice blended cigar that has tobacco from all over, whether it's from Mexico, Colombia, or even Pennsylvania long fillers, or Ecuadorian Connecticut wrappers, broadleaf wrappers, etc. I've learned quite a bit over the last couple of years smoking different cigars. But this is definitely a well-blended cigar, and it just adds to the great flavor. And as it kind of transitions, like you were saying, it's kind of transitioning to that creaminess and stuff like that. I would say this is like a medium plus cigar in terms of like body and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not heavy-handed. It's not overly robust. It's right in the middle, maybe leaning towards robust, but not robust. And by the way, this feels like a rich cigar in terms of price, but it's a $12 cigar.
Yeah.
So it's a fantastic
not
price, especially for what you're smoking. You feel like you're smoking a much more expensive cigar. I'd put this up against a Davidoff in comparison to flavor and quality. It's a really great cigar.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to see what the second third's like because that first third was excellent. So we're going to take it down about to the middle of these pretty bands, which will obviously come off here in just a second. So don't want to singe those.
No.
But we'll get back with you with our thoughts after the second third, and we'll let you know what we think.
So Kyle and I are thoroughly enjoying our dark chocolate La Opulencia.
Yeah, definitely.
It's it's probably one of the sweeter. It's indescribable. You have to try it for yourself.
Yes,
it is describable, but I think everybody's palate is going to be a little bit different on this one because if you enjoy dark chocolate, you're going to love this cigar.
Oh yeah.
If you don't enjoy dark chocolate, you're still going to like this cigar.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to tell you right now. Typically we described earlier, the bitterness is a bitey, peppery, that spice, maybe too much, a little harsh on the tongue. And this is it's smooth, it's creamy, but it's dark chocolate with just that slight bitter finish, and you just don't get tired of it. And it's becoming more and more prevalent as you smoke down to the bottom third of the cigar. I'm really enjoying this. This is going to be a nubber.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm smoking it completely down. I'm going to see how far I can get it. I wish I had a cigar pick just so I could see how, because I think the furthest I've ever gotten a cigar down, one that I obviously enjoyed very much, was like right about here. I smoked it down that far. That's the furthest I've ever gotten. But this is definitely a nub-worthy cigar because of just how it kind of has a complexity to it. Just because right now I'm getting a little bit, which I know sounds funny because we're smoking a cigar, but a little bit more of that smoky, lingering smoky flavor in the palate and on kind of on the back end of it with the dark chocolate, the slightly bitter flavor, but it's still very, very rich. And how sometimes, depending on what you're smoking, you can actually get, like, your mouth will dry out.
Right.
I feel like the earmark of a really good cigar is when you're smoking it, your mouth is just watering while you smoke it.
Mine is. It definitely is. It's just moist. It's
not drying out or anything like that. So it's very tasty, very rich, very complex. I'm enjoying it a lot. And it's transitioned kind of more into that a little bit more prevalent, like baking spice, not too peppery, not too much of that heat, but with like the bitter dark chocolate. Very chocolatey cigar, and I'm a huge fan of dark chocolate. It's one of my favorite chocolates to eat. I like a good milk chocolate here and there, but I love a really good dark chocolate that's well done. Has that little bit of bitterness to it, but still also sweet, kind of like a baking chocolate.
There you go.
So, but definitely getting a similar experience, and very creamy, very rich, very smooth.
And down to the last third, not hot.
Nope.
It's a nice, even burning. You see this. I haven't had to turn this cigar during the whole smoke.
Nope.
It's burned this way throughout.
I touched it up once, just once. It was burning a little wonky, but then as soon as I corrected it, it stayed straight. And kind of like that test we talked about in one of our last reviews, putting my fingers up right at the edge of the burn, no heat, not burning my fingers, and coming from our sponsor, Luis Cuevas Jr., said that is definitely shows the quality of a cigar. And my father makes some fantastic cigars. Whether you had
not his father, but
yeah,
because that would be me.
Don Pepin Garcia,
exactly
the master blender for my father cigars, makes excellent cigars. And I've tried Don Pepin. I've had I think I've had all the same My Father cigars you have. I've had the Le Bijou 1922. I've had the Judge. I've had the La Promesa. All excellent cigars. The My Father I enjoyed. Really great cigars. I haven't had a bad experience with any one of them.
Yeah, so surprisingly, this one escaped us trying it out. Either one of us. This is the first time for both of us with this particular cigar, and we thoroughly love My Father.
Which is rare for you and I.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I mean, not completely rare, because there's a bunch of cigars I've tried that you haven't tried, a bunch of cigars you've tried I haven't tried. So it's kind of nice that we get to meet each other on a cigar we haven't had the experience with. And so it's fun figuring it out and seeing how it settles on our palate, but it's excellent.
Right.
I enjoy it quite a bit. So we're going to try and take this as far down to the nub as possible before we give you our final thoughts, because we just want to take our time and enjoy it, because sometimes I get a little too caught up in trying to catch everything when I'm smoking it, which is part of the reason why I do the reviews. But at the same time, you want to enjoy the cigar. So we're going to take this next bit to really enjoy the last parts of it.
We'll have to buy a 5-pack and really, go in depth and get back to you on that.
Oh, no, Dad. Don't make me do that. I love this man. In case you can't tell, he shares his cigars with me, so it's always fun to come over here and hang and have new experiences with fantastic cigars. So we'll be back with you with our final thoughts as we get this down to the nub. So see you in a sec.
See ya.
Okay, guys. I don't know if you can see right here. This was as far as we got, and that's pretty dang far.
Yep.
It was that good. And even down towards the end where, it gets a little hot, gets a little bit more bitter because of the heat, not because of the actual makeup of the cigar. But even then, I still had like a lot of that dark chocolate, very rich flavor.
All the way down.
All the way down. It was delicious. Fantastic cigar. We're just sitting here talking, shooting the breeze, and kind of letting it smoke down. And then when I got to the point where I was like, okay, I can't get any more about this, like, let's just go ahead and give our final thoughts, because it was starting to burn my lips a little bit.
Well, and actually for me, it was hotter on my fingers. My draw was still very nice all the way down to the very, very end.
I had to improvise. I don't have a cigar pick, but I do have a knife. So, but but it was a delicious smoke. So, Dad, you said that it's like the number two cigar rather of what,
2017.
2017. Yeah. Now, if you were to give this the original Dad Smoking Cigars rating, how would you rate this cigar?
Well, I can't argue with Cigar Aficionado. I think they gave it a 92 or 93, and I would say easily this is a 90-plus point cigar. Even today, it holds up. This is just very smokable. You could pair it really nicely with a very smooth whiskey or bourbon of your choice, even a good Scotch if you're a Scotch lover. I think because of the chocolatey notes, a Guinness would be really great with this.
That would be. I think so.
You could actually enjoy it with a great
nice stout
cup of espresso. It just wow. This thing has so many potential flavor combinations, and even a really bold cab. Choose your wine, your favorite red to drink with this cigar.
This would go with a really great dessert. This would be a good dessert cigar.
Yeah, even a port would complement this very nicely. It may be a little too sweet, but when I think of all the different red blends and cabs, and this just has myriad possibilities. So this is a cigar you could enjoy with a lot of different combinations.
It's an all-day, everyday cigar. If and again, it's not an expensive cigar. If you wanted to buy just like one or a 5-pack, you wouldn't be spending a whole lot of money. You'd be spending, I think, about probably $60 for a 5-pack. So you'd be spend a good amount for a box, but I still think it'd be worth the money.
I've never had a My Father that disappointed me.
Absolutely.
Ever. And, you know, this is box worthy if you want to spend that kind of money. Absolutely. But if you want to, you know, load up your humidor with 5 packs, this would be one of them to include.
Absolutely. So I think 90 plus is definitely a good rating. I think I would give this like a 92. So right up there with Cigar Aficionado and all of that. So very excellent cigar. Once again, My Father has not disappointed. So excellent, absolutely excellent. So,
indeed.
Yes. So we hope you guys enjoyed this review. It's always fun getting to hang with my pop and enjoy a smoke, and I know you guys have enjoyed all the videos we do. Sorry there was no Aussie update in this video. We didn't really have a whole lot of material to work with. We talked about a couple things, but we just decided to play it loose and casual. So
Australia was closed today, so you know, we didn't get our usual feed.
Apologies to all of our Aussie friends, including our friend Craig. There'll be another one, we promise, and it's going to be a good one. So
she is Craig.
Exactly, from Big Kev. So thanks again, guys, for joining us, and we'll be back soon with my dad, and as always, a new review every week. So thanks again for joining us, and as always, we'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.
Hey guys, thanks again for tuning into this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and also follow Dad Smoking Cigars on dads_smoking_cigars on Instagram, and be sure to check us out on Facebook. Until then, guys, stay smoky, and I'll see you in the next one.